What's up, everybody? On today's episode of the Hashtag Blackout Podcast, we're just going to talk about how our first few days in at-home quarantine, homeschooling, work from home, all the above and below has gone. All that and more on today's episode of the Hashtag Blackout Podcast. Pew, pew, pew. Everybody, welcome back to episode 153 of the Hashtag Blackout Podcast. I'm Jared.
What up, people? I'm Jay.
And we're back and at it again. Jay, man, how has your week been?
Is hard to explain. Everybody's probably having the same week. Mm-hmm. Either bored or you're frustrated or you know, just straight up feeling some type of way because we're all kind of sort of quarantined to a certain extent. Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. Yeah, that's about all I can say. It's been a very interesting week, full of adjustments. I'll say that.
Yeah.
How about you?
Same here. Same here because we're all doing the same thing, just like you say. Just hanging at home, more with the kids, more with the wife, which, is a good thing, I guess, because you get more family time, obviously, now than everybody is getting more family time, now than they've ever gotten. Or maybe they've gotten in a long time, I guess we'll say that. And, yeah, so I guess, that's the good part. That's the positive part. The sad part is, these kids, they want to see their friends from school.
Yeah, exactly.
So that is the part that has sort of been heart wrenching because we just keep repeating the same thing. Like, sorry, nobody's really playing, having play dates with anybody else right now. And it is just the reality, and it is what it is, man. So difficult for them to understand, difficult for a lot of adults to understand. Frankly, but it is what it is. It's the current state that we're in right now. So, we just gotta stay positive and try to push through it. And try not to go extremely stir crazy. So,
yes, indeed.
Yeah,
man. It's pretty interesting trying to work a full-time job as well as be a full-time teacher. That's what we've been doing the past week. So I'm sure you guys have been doing the same thing. Yeah. So yeah, man. Let's just get into it. Talk about adjustments. Yeah,
man. So obviously, I know that our state of Utah is not on mandatory lockdown yet. I believe my brother, who lives in California, I believe their state is, unless you're a necessary essential employee or essential worker, essential industry. Right. So his wife actually, his wife is one of those people who works for the state government, I believe, there. So, or the city government, one of those two. So, she has to go to work every day, but I believe they're going to allow her to work from home now. But yeah, so they have to be, locked down and can't go. We're not on that yet. But I wouldn't be surprised if it comes soon to a lot of states.
Yeah,
and I guess the thing is, they said, that you could still leave to go get groceries, which are essentials. You could do some other essential tasks, obviously, outside the home, but overall, they want everyone to just stay in and to slow down the spread. So I don't know, man. I saw something interesting. I saw an interesting article from someone last night, and it was basically talking about, how much data do we really have? Obviously, we have the data from China and Korea, which seems to be doing a lot better than most other countries that have that have been able to control the spread, and then Italy, France, now United Kingdom, etc. And it's saying that, did we close down schools too quickly? Because sometimes I guess there's a situation where kids, they're in a group and they sort of, get some kind of immunity to a lot of different viruses and sicknesses are out there because they're all in a group and they're all sharing a similar space. Teachers, same way. So have we not gotten enough data, or have we gotten enough data yet to support doing all these drastic measures? Are they too drastic? Are they not? And it was interesting to read, to think, to see. I don't know, man. I don't know. I think that, it seems like our administration has really hugely dropped the ball. Now, there's a lot of people who are dying, here in the States because of this. And, was it too late of a drastic measure to take? Or did they do it? They try to do it in time, as timely as they could. I don't know. But I just saw that as an interesting article and trying to see, at this point, we are just a couple of months in, 2-3 months in for the worldwide version of it. So is that a good enough sample? And I believe it is a good enough sample. You look at China and you see that they've gone from it spiking and having, I don't know how many tens of thousands of deaths that they had from it. And now they've seemed to really, really knock it way down to maybe almost, no new cases over a few days, in a row, which is quite amazing. So, I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know. What do you think, man? Do you think that this is a good drastic measure? Just go ahead and take it, or what?
Yeah. I think it probably could have been handled better earlier. I mean, I think some measures should have been taken a lot earlier, obviously. But at this point in time now, it's hard to tell. Honestly, man, it's hard to tell. I was talking to my neighbor. He just went pick up his kid from New Jersey. Drove to pick up his kid from New Jersey because apparently they were about to go, because New Jersey and New York is practically a hop, skip, and a jump. They were about to go in like a mandatory lockdown within 72 hours of when he picked him up. Yeah. Wow. So yeah, it's gonna like trickle from like, what is it? California, New York. I heard what other state was about to go in lockdown?
Illinois, maybe.
Illinois, probably.
Illinois. Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, so it's. I'm just hoping this. So I don't want to say die. I really want to say die down, but I know it's going to be some time before it does that. Yeah. I don't know, man. It's tough to even call. What they're doing now is, I guess it's the right measures. I mean, it's hard to tell, because you don't know how fast it's going to spread. I mean, looking at Italy, man, they're getting hit bad, Yeah, it's terrible. Yeah, and they, it seemed by all accounts that they were one of the countries that, initially was like, it's nothing. You know what I'm saying? It's going to disappear. And I think they were taking the same tone as our president was, as far as it's going to go away quickly. But not that. This is the thing that I think a lot of people were not factoring in is, travel, people traveling to and from countries. That's right.
People coming from, that part of Asia, somewhere in that part of the world, back to your country, who went to visit there, or people flying to your country to visit from there when this was all really starting to bolster and explode. And then, you take into account the cruise ships, not only the planes, but the cruise ships, all these ways that people can travel in and out of countries. And that is what has effectively caused this to spread. And if you're not taking it seriously, it goes like wildfire. So I don't know what the cultural things that happen in Italy are as far as like hygiene and cleaning cleaning food utensils and other things like that, and sanitizing, public spaces. But it seems to have, oh my gosh, it seems to have been just, it's unspeakable how quickly it has ramped up in that country. And I saw an infographic that sort of compared Italy's cases, case by case, to us, and then also I think to United Kingdom, something like that. And I mean, it's just crazy how it seems like we're sort of on the same trend. But I believe there's a difference in our country and theirs. If you go by percentages, obviously they're a country of maybe like 50 million people, something like that. Maybe not even that many, maybe 20, 30 million. I don't know, compared to our country, which is, a couple 100 million. So the numbers I think are a little weird, comparatively, but it's still, a sharp rise, and hopefully, the people at the top here have made this decision quick enough to try to quell the spread. But I know it's in every state now. I know that there's at least one confirmed case in every state right now.
Right. Oh yeah,
at least one. So
I'm honestly surprised Texas doesn't have as many as like California.
Mm-hmm.
The
amount of people.
Because I'm looking back home. Louisiana has like a whole lot of cases, probably more than Texas.
Yeah,
if I'm not mistaken. Or I guess if you want to compare size wise, it has a whole lot more than Texas. But obviously they're close quarters. Maybe, I don't know, man. It's weird.
Yeah, it's weird. It's a weird thing. Let me see here. Corona, of course, coronavirus, USA. So let's see if this shows a map. So United States, I don't know how updated this statistic is as of today, though, but United States has 30,000 cases. And it shows so far that 178 have recovered and 388 have passed from it, sadly. And if you look at Italy in comparison, I don't know how far in front of America that Italy started to make these reports, but they're almost double the United States. They're 59,000 plus confirmed cases, over 7,000 recoveries, but also 5,400 people that passed. That's insane.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And of course, they've said that, people who are older and then people who are like babies, toddlers, like under 10 years old or something like that are sort of like the more susceptible age ranges. But there's also young people, there's people in the middle ranges also catching this, between that teenage to, 40, 50 range. Mm-hmm. So I don't know, man. It seems quite crazy. But I do think this, man. I think, our administration definitely dropped the ball. When was it? A couple years ago, when they decided to disband the pandemic panel, pandemic department, whatever it is.
Yep.
Because I think we would have been much farther ahead, and maybe we'd be in a similar state to, like a Korea that is, that's really, really slowed down the influx of this disease. If they had, some experts behind it, but, you have somebody who runs the whole show who thinks that they're an expert.
Right.
And so I guess if we still had that, then maybe, just maybe, we'd be in a better state. But we don't know. But right now we just have to sort of deal with what we got, and try to live with it like this. So it's crazy, man. Absolutely crazy. What's interesting though, this is what's really weird, right? Just think about this. So China, right? Mongolia is right next door to China. I don't know what the Mongolia's, full population is, but Mongolia only has 10 confirmed cases.
Right.
Isn't that wild? Like, it's right next door. I mean, it's basically like hugging China. Japan only has 1,000, a little over 1,000 cases.
Yeah, and we see how crowded Japan is, especially like places like Tokyo. Mm-hmm. So it's I don't know. It's a big no, it's weird or I ain't gonna say weird, but it's interesting. Like even before this, you'd look at pictures and images from like Japan and a lot of Asian countries are well populated Asian countries. A lot of the people wear the face mask anyway. Yeah. Just from catching any type of thing. So maybe that helps some. I don't know.
It has to. Yeah, it has to. It has to help somehow. I don't know. I know that also another article I read was talking about countries that have travel ties to China. Have like higher I guess very strong travel ties or trade ties with China. They're able to get products or get people moving there and back. And we just say China because we know that's where it started. We know that it is something that has obviously blossomed to every other country at this point, it seems. But that sort of helped it spread. So it's crazy, man. I don't know. This is a time when I think there's a lot of people trying to seek and find information. The most information on the subject that they can, and maybe ways to fight it, ways to combat it, ways like that. And I think we found a couple of things that were pretty telling. I know that I saw a doctor. I know that they are testing all kinds of drugs and drug combinations. But then I also saw, a doctor post a video from one of his colleagues in China after they had sort of like a multinational panel on it. And they did a lot of treatment with a high dose of vitamin C. And it seems like a higher dose of vitamin C, is something that has helped sort of quell it and sort of, I wouldn't say the word cure, but I would definitely say it would help those people to recover and recover quickly. And I think they said it was like they tested like 50 people with this high dose of vitamin C, and none of them died. And interesting. And they had been confirmed to have the virus, and their hospital stay was 3 to 5 days, 5 to 7 days, something like that, less than a patient who was not tested. Who also survived. Who was not given the vitamin C dose, but who also survived. So I think there's something to the vitamins, man. Vitamins and natural herbs, that you can take and as supplements, whatever. Just to try to take that beforehand, to have your body have some kind of, I wouldn't say force field, but I would say, some kind of...
Just a little fighting chance.
Yeah, fighting chance before. So.
Yeah, that's interesting, man. And, like you mentioned earlier, a lot of people are going online and looking for information, and I'm sure they're also coming up on a bunch of conspiracy coronavirus articles and whatnot.
Oh yeah.
There's a lot of them. Obviously, you can't take them all for being true.
Yeah.
But a lot of them do sound very interesting. I mean, I guess, do you want to read off a couple? You want me to read off a couple of these things?
Yeah. You could read them.
We don't have to get into the whole thing. It's pretty overwhelming with a bunch of stuff. So I'm pretty sure everybody's already heard about the government introducing coronavirus in 2018, and Bill Gates is somehow responsible for it.
Wow.
So that's one thing that a lot of people are talking about, and it just sounds really interesting, especially given that Bill Gates just recently stepped down from his role at Microsoft to do more humanitarian work, I guess, if you want to call it that.
Oh, okay.
So that's just one thing. People out there, don't take my word for it. Don't all this stuff is online. I'm just regurgitating what I'm reading right now.
Wow.
And there's another one that says Dean Koontz, the author, he kind of like predicted this like in the early 80s. I think he had a 1981 novel called let me see, The Eyes of Darkness.
Okay.
And there was a passage in that he said they call the stuff Wuhan 400 because it was developed at their RDNA labs outside of the city of Wuhan, and it was the 400th viable strain of man-made microorganisms created at the research center. That's crazy, huh? That
is crazy. So that's what they say this may be from.
That's where that particular that's just like a little conspiracy thing saying that he kind of like when people say the Simpsons predicted a whole bunch of things and South Park predicted a whole bunch of things like that. So they're just referring back to this particular novel. That,
he called it that in that day back then?
He called it, the Wuhan 400.
Wow.
So I'm wondering if like way back, because I know there's a, there's a some kind of research facility like right outside of Wuhan.
I don't know.
Kind of medical, I think it's biomedical type research center there. I'm not sure how long it's been around. Maybe it's around in the 70s, maybe early 80s that the author referred back to, just to put it in there. I don't know. But yeah, all the stuff is on the internet for people to go ahead and check out. They're even saying the Simpsons predicted this, and they called it the Osaka flu. And this was back in 1993. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
that's crazy.
I don't know. It's just crazy how people, put these conspiracy things on the internet, and a lot of people just take it and run with it. I've read some other stuff where they said there was a U.S. medical doctor, a biomedical doctor that was in that area, particular area, helping China develop some kind of a virus or whatnot, and apparently it just got out somehow, some way. There's another thing that said China already has a vaccine and doesn't want to provide the U.S. with it because apparently they hate Trump or something like that.
Of course.
I mean, obviously Trump is calling it the Chinese virus, which is kind of
because he's
dumb.
an idiot.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the thing. Sometimes you don't need to speak. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you can say less. Sometimes you need to let the people who are like the press secretaries or whoever is a lot smarter than you at public speaking be the ones who speak. It's unfortunate because there's people out there who are, because of what he said, racial tensions aren't easy, but because of what he said, it's making them even worse. And this time against people of Asian descent. It's just ridiculous, man. And then, then he goes and opens his mouth and says something about, you could try this malaria drug and a Z-Pack and it's gonna cure you. And then the actual scientist doctor who's in the administration walked up, after him was like, I don't know what he's talking about, but that may work. It may not work. He's trying to give people hope.
Yeah.
We haven't fully tested that yet. So let the smart people talk. What his press conferences he should answer whatever questions are given to him, but then anything medicine wise, medical wise, anything like that, he should refer to the experts. I don't know, man. I don't understand it. Don't understand why he would do that, but yeah, I do know this though. I do know this. China has, and not only China, but other parts of the world. There's lots of other parts of the world that have these things they call wet markets, right? Mm-hmm. And it's like a farmer's market you go to buy all kinds of things, but also meat from different animals. And most of these animals, they're alive there. You say, hey, I want that monkey, with the brown tail. And so they will kill that animal right there for you, slaughter it, slice it up, put it in a little Walmart bag, plastic bag, and hand it to you. And there you go. There's no like zip locking. There's no like vacuum sealing. The sanitation requirements are like little to none. And so that's where they believe, or that's where they know it sort of started and sort of exploded from, I guess, in Wuhan area. And that's where the first confirmed cases were, and it sort of branched out from there. And they also believe that it came from bats that were infected that were also sold in that market. So if you can imagine this, so imagine like a crate, like a dog crate, right? Mm-hmm. Where like people crate train their dogs in these cage thingies. So imagine those just stacked on top of each other, like 10 high. And each of those cages has bats, like, several bats in each cage. And maybe like some of the bats in the middle cages, the top cages are infected with some kind of virus, because bats carry all kinds of different viruses and diseases. So is infected. This bat poops, this bat spits, this bat, may bleed or something like that down onto other bats below him. These bats are also sitting right next to chickens, right? And also next to pigs. And so some of this liquid, translates from their cage, drips off their cage, lands on some of these chickens or pigs. They're just walking around pecking and doing their thing, licking their mouth. Then they're infected, and that spreads through other animals. So you come and try to get, some bacon, right? Mm-hmm. You get some pieces of bacon from one of those pigs that was right next to those bats. The person who's slaughtering that pig gets it on his hands, gets it on his knife. Mm-hmm. The blood is just basically on the ground, going into gutters or sewers, and also splashing on the other animals. They finish doing that. They hand you the Walmart plastic bag with the bacon that you asked for. So you now have it. You take that back to your family. Family of 5. Everybody in your family, including you, now has it. And they're all carriers. And they go to school, they go to work, they go to other stores, and they pass it without even knowing, pass it to other people. And then it just spreads. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy. It's like starting a fire, starting wildfire. You know what I'm saying? It starts as a match or a cigarette butt, and it just turns into a whole forest. Highly unfortunate, but that's what they have. These wet markets that they had sort of banned and outlawed for a time. Then they let them come back because money, and they're selling bears, they're selling wolves, they're selling bats, they're selling all kinds of birds and dogs and other kind of animals that aren't normally on the menu for most of the rest of the world. So whoever sold those infected bats to the marketers there, that's really where it started, right?
That's what they say. That's exactly what they say. But I don't know. All we could do is go by what they tell us.
Yep.
So there's no telling what's going on. So how have you guys been, adjusting the state of Utah, your neighborhood, your family?
I believe that the state, apparently we're like the number one state for panic buying. I think I reported that. I didn't report that, but we talked about it a couple weeks ago when we talked about how much toilet paper and water people were taking from everywhere. So I think that has calmed down. Also, the other thing is places like Costco and other similar retailers have stated that they will not do returns for toilet paper or Lysol or other, or water or other things like that were purchased during this time frame for the foreseeable future, I guess. Just because they know, once we hopefully get a grasp on this and it starts to dissipate, there's going to be all these people who are like the crazy people who bought pallets and try to return it. They're like, nope, got to keep it. So, so I think the state has sort of calmed down as far as that. We're trying this online school thing. Everybody seems to be doing like Google Classrooms or something like that. And my kids, I think they're sort of over it. They want to see their friends. They want to talk to their friends. And my son, I think he actually wrote a creative or like a weekly or daily like writing thing for his teacher, and was like, this thing sort of sucks because you can't see your friends and you can't talk to your friends about the things that you can't really talk to your parents about. And I was like, yeah, that's true. Because that's the truth, man. So I don't know. My daughter is handling it as good as possible. Watching Netflix shows and stuff after she has finished her schoolwork. But yeah, I think my son is handling it harder. Me and the wife, we're just trying to stay positive in front of the kids. That's about it, man. And try not to get on each other's nerves. So I think we're all trying to, have some me alone, separate space time for a while, and then we get together, as well. So how about you guys?
I mean, it's an adjustment. Like I say, this past week, trying to do our full-time jobs as well as try to keep the kids, teach them kids, because like I told you, our school that the kids go to, they were like so unprepared for this. Yeah. It's crazy because they go to a charter school, and I guess all the charter schools are like in a certain network for this school. Mm-hmm. So they started doing videos where they'd upload it to YouTube to that particular charter school, not his particular school, but the particular charter school network. So there'll be like a first grade playlist, fourth grade playlist, and it would be none of their teachers. It would be some random teacher from like a school over in Dallas or, wherever in Texas, and it's like, Daddy, I already know this stuff. Yeah. I don't know why they're teaching me this again. We learned this like a couple months ago, and it's like, oh, shucks. Okay. So then we have to try and figure out lesson plans and doing this and that. But apparently next week is going to be a little different. I guess their actual teachers are going to start giving them stuff. So they don't have homework. So shouldn't be any reason to complain for them. But I know they're just ready to get back to school to see their friends like your kids are as well. Yeah. So we'll see what this week brings. They're ready to get back, and supposedly they're supposed to go back next Monday. So what is it? The 27th, I think it is, or the 30th. Yeah. 30th, I think. Yeah. They're supposed to go back there on the 30th, but I don't think they're gonna go back just based on a lot of the other school districts and colleges and whatever around in the area. They're all going back in like April. They're planning to go back in April, I should say. But then there's a lot of other ones that have just completely closed down for the rest of the semester until, next school year. Yeah. I mean, like, I'm not worried about my kids as far as like passing and whatnot. Because I've had parent-teacher conferences this past week with their teachers, and they're like, "Oh, we're not worried about them. They're gonna pass, so you have nothing to worry about." But still, I don't want them to like start their next grade level, and then they're like missing out on a bunch of essential stuff that could have been taught. Yeah,
I think that what's gonna happen is I think that what's going to happen is they're going to probably change the curriculum for the beginning of the next school year, because I think everyone's going to consider, obviously that essential in school time that you get with the teacher, learning new things, and the consistency that you get, going from this lesson to that lesson. I think they're going to be like, hey, I know that no kids got that for the last 2-3 months of school. So we need to adjust this, to maybe have a longer review period to start the next year, and then really start on that year's course. Well, I think that's what's going to happen, man. I think that's the only viable option, because you can't expect these kids. What if there's a kid right now who was low, in their grade level and their with their work, and when they normally would have had time to adjust and actually make up that lost ground before the end of the school year, they have to start next school year low and have to be on the next level. I don't think they would let them do that. I would hope that most school districts around the country and charter schools around the country would have that mindset. My kid's school right now, I think, they are supposed to have spring break as well, coming up here. I think after this week, I think the next week is spring break, if I'm not right. And then they were supposed to start back after that, but I don't believe it's going to happen, man. They've already said statewide that there's going to be no more end of year testing, and I think a lot of states have decided to do that. And I wouldn't be surprised if they just start shutting down school for the rest of the school year, which will be difficult,
Yeah. So schools won't be the same. Like I was telling you, my neighbor, picked up his son, and his son works down, in the Wall Street type area, type district or whatever. So he's in that type of business where
he's always
he's
around
dealing.
People.
Yeah. Well, he's always talking money. So he was telling his dad that if this thing happens to die down, like, money is not going to be the exact same as it was. It's going to be a lot. It's going to be a lot worse. It's going to be bad.
Yeah, your investments won't have as much
investments. All that stuff.
Wow,
nothing's going to be the same, money and business wise.
Yeah, that's crazy, but it's true. I mean, shoot, we're trying to sell. Yeah. We're trying to sell our old house that we just moved out of, and there are houses in our neighborhood that we moved from. We're selling in as few as 3 days, or a week. Wow. So, and of course we listed our house, and then the next day or whatever, 2 days, they decided to do this, social distancing and everything else. And so I do know that we've had at least one showing at the house, but that's about it. I don't know how many more we've had. And so that's going to, really affect that too. Home sales, home values, etc. Because people who would have been able to pay XYZ for a house may not be able to get a loan for XYZ for a house because maybe they got laid off, or maybe, there's all these other factors that are in now. So crazy. Yeah.
That is crazy. Yeah. We were talking about that yesterday. I was like, damn, this keeps, I'm fortunate and I'm lucky to be able to have a job that, that keeps me on regardless. I could work remotely, but, I feel, bad for those people, service workers and, those folks in that type of field, because they have doesn't seem like any backup, you can't work from home doing, waiting tables or anything like that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly.
That's bad. That's a tough situation, man. It's tough all around for everybody out there, but
yeah, it's very rough. Yeah, very rough. I have a lot of friends still in the service industry, and the good majority of them are not salaried employees. They're not, They're not, they're not managers. They're just, they're at some other level. So I know there's quite a few of them who have already gotten laid off from their jobs. And it's horrible for them. It's terrible. What can you do? You know what I'm saying? What can be done? I don't even know. It's just bad for those people because, a lot of them, rely on that, or a lot of them live check to check, or, something like that. And may necessarily not have like a rainy day fund. So. Yep.
Yeah. I also heard, do you guys do your income tax, right?
Yeah, we normally do. We have we have not finished it. But
boy. Yeah, because I was just reading last week that they're gonna, I guess, kind of hold off on, or delay those tax returns coming back. So yeah, for those people who didn't do it or probably waiting right now, it's gonna be tough.
Yeah, exactly. That's going to be rough for a lot of people. Yeah. Man, so much stuff. Well, I know they're delaying sending it back, right? Like you said, and they've also pushed the deadline, I think, to July or something like that. So yeah, all kinds of things, man. It's just a ripple effect, throughout the world. I think that at this point, our best, even though I know that, there's a faction of America who would cringe to hear this, but I think our best bet is to look at countries like China and Korea, who are, a couple of months ahead of us already in this whole situation, and say, what happened there? What can we do? And then what is the aftermath now? What are they looking at now as this sort of continues and starts to go quell? But then also, how is their industry looking? How are their businesses looking, et cetera? So, and try to take that as an example of what, things to come and things that we should be prepared for. But this is something that the government should be doing, right? Who knows if our government is doing
but
that.
then the question you got to ask is, are the people in charge of our government honestly gonna kind of look over there and see what they're doing? Because we already got an idiot for a president who probably he thinks he knows it all, especially about business. Yeah. Especially that's pretty much how you run in our government, like a business. Yeah.
I think that I would hope that there's somebody there that would be smart enough to say, hey, come on, just let the experts do their thing. But I know the real case. But I don't know, man. I know that there's a big grassroots effort right now to have a lot more input from actual medical professionals and other professionals similar to that. So I hope that more people than not heed the information coming from the professionals when they get a chance to step up to the mic or post things that are valid, factual data, rather than listen to the person in charge of the country. Hopefully that's the case, and we start to turn the tide and get this thing knocked out and start to go down in America. So I don't think it would be appropriate to do a tap your love box this time around.
No. I don't think so. No.
Yeah, but I think we could try to review a couple of things. So I know that there's like some prevention steps. There's some prevention steps that we could sort of relay on to the people. Symptoms, what you do if you have these symptoms, and then maybe ways to, I don't know if you want to say to treat it. There's obviously no vaccine or no cure just yet, but ways to treat. Isn't this crazy? Isn't this insane? Like, I've been thinking about this. Is crazy because this is like stuff that you see on a movie. You know?
Yeah.
This is nuts.
You know, it's funny. Well, not funny. You know, it's just interesting. You look on Netflix and you see what the top trending movies are.
I saw it.
It's like Outbreak.
Pandemic is
Pandemic. How to survive a pandemic or something. And, what was the other one? There was another one.
100 Humans or something?
Crap, but it was something along the same lines. So, yeah, people are, it's getting interesting. But at the same time, people are getting creative. I think people are getting creative with their time. Yeah. It's probably the boredom setting in that they're starting to feel a little creative. Mm-hmm. So it's, it's good. I'd rather them be creative than to do the alternative. Yeah,
I think so too. I would hope that we don't go the alternative route, and I would hope that people stop panicking and start listening to actual facts, and hear that, hey, there are parts of the world where this has been corralled a lot more than other parts of the world. So, I think that the real message is to, do all the things you're supposed to do to take care of your family, short of causing some kind of violence. You know what I'm saying? That's not the answer. Take care of your family, take care of your friends, be a positive, human being, doing the thing that, that you want somebody else to do for you. So, all right. So I guess, so here, I looked up this copy. I looked up this page that basically, I hit the wrong button. That basically is, sort of talking, it has like a list of symptoms, and it's like a Google result, but it has a list of symptoms, it has a list of, how to prevent, treatments, etc. So, as far as symptoms, I think a lot of people have already heard it. You may experience a cough, fever, very severe tiredness, severe, difficulty breathing. If you, and apparently it's showing right now that, by 80%, that recovery rate is about 80%. They say more rarely the disease can be serious or even fatal. Older people or people with other medical conditions such as asthma, diabetes, heart disease may be more vulnerable from being seriously ill, and that just makes it just totally makes sense. Just because your body's already sort of compromised from an immune standpoint, and yeah. So were you able to load that up?
It just came to like a Google search.
Yeah. So on the side, does it say?
Like overview symptoms prevented. I got you.
So look at the prevention. Why don't you read off the prevention? Do the 5.
Do the 5. Hands, elbow, face, space, home. So hands, wash them often. Elbow, cough into it. I have another idea about that. Face, don't touch it. Space, keep safe distance. Home, stay if you can. So the whole elbow, coughing into your elbow thing. Yeah. It's better than coughing into your hands or just coughing straight into the air. But one thing I started doing is just, if I need to cough or sneeze, just pull my shirt up and cough and sneeze into it. Yeah. Because if you cough into your elbow, I'm sure something's going to fly out of either area.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's still a good suggestion anyway, Yeah, but,
that's true.
Yeah, those are good things.
Coughing into your shirt, sneezing into your shirt. Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah. Obviously, don't touch your eyes, your nose, or your mouth. I kind of sort of practice that same thing with if I gotta like itch or like scratch my nose or my face or something. I'll just pull up the inside of my shirt.
Same.
And then I'll just scratch my face that way.
Yeah, I've been doing that too. It's. I'm one of those people who always just sort of holds his head, hold my forehead or whatever if I'm thinking about something. So I've been trying to. I'm sure I'm doing it right now. I've been trying to not do that. I think that there's certain times where you can. Obviously, where you haven't been outside, you've been in your own house, you've taken a shower, etc. So I think the other thing is to, if you do go out, when you come back, either take a shower immediately or take off. Like if you go out and you're in another public space where there's other people, take off your coat, your shirt, your pants, whatever you have on, and put them in the washer or put them in the laundry room to be washed, or Lysol them, something like that. Just because you don't know. But I mean, yesterday
you don't know what's in there.
Yeah, yesterday I went to go pick up some food from a place that had, like online ordering. So I walked in to pick it up, and there was quite the wait. I think they were behind. They were way busier than they believed they would be. And there were several people waiting in there, so maybe like 5 other people waiting inside the restaurant. And then you could tell everybody was sort of keeping their space, but there was one dude who was just sitting down, and he like sneezed. And I don't know if he sneezed. I know he sneezed. He was looking down. I don't know if he sneezed into like his arm or if he just sneezed down toward the floor. But I know as soon as he sneezed, everybody sort of like made a move to like sort of step away a few more feet and sort of look back at him and or tried to avoid him. It was sort of weird. So just do the things that you've been instructed. I know that we're in America and people just think that we're free to do whatever we want to do, but I don't know, man. Just like I saw what Nike said, man. Nike was like, if you ever dreamed of playing for millions, play for millions right now. This is your time. This is your moment. So then treatments, self-care. Said there's no specific medicine to prevent or treat the coronavirus disease, but people may need supportive care to help them breathe. It does say if you have mild symptoms, stay at home until you've recovered. You can relieve your symptoms if you rest and sleep, keep warm, drink plenty of liquids, use a humidifier, take a hot shower. We've also talked about vitamins. Take your vitamin C, take vitamin D, take zinc, take the B complex vitamins. All of those are sort of help your immune system style vitamins. Vitamin C being the prime one. So take your multivitamin if you have that, like a Centrum or something. So they're available. And
if it's sunny outside in your area, just go outside and get some sun. A lot of times that helps. A lot of times it does help. I mean, obviously not here in Texas. It's like was 70, close to 80 degrees, and then down to 40 degrees. So it's supposed to be back to 80 degrees tomorrow. Just obviously do the things, take care of yourself. There's not much more we could say that the news has already been reporting to you on every single news channel. So man. So just gonna have to wait it out and see what's gonna happen, man. My neighbor asked me yesterday, he's like, you guys got guns? Because it's going to get crazy. I'm like, yeah. So he's like, all right. I got a lot.
It's crazy, man.
It's going to be some interesting times, my friend. Interesting times.
Yeah, it's just wild, man. It's just wild. I think, if people were to look back at, I think when the big flu epidemic happened, back in like the 1920s or something like that. Like
Spanish flu.
Yeah, I think that was the major one. I think that obviously it was a different time. Everything was totally different than it is now. But we all, I mean, they all, sort of survived. They survived through it. It was tough times for a long time, obviously, but the world did. They did find a way to make it through, So I just hope and pray that it does not get to be the crazy times. You know what I'm saying? That is what it is. Right. So who knows? But so I do also see here that New York wants to begin clinical trials for the coronavirus, or they're going to begin clinical trials for the coronavirus treatment on Tuesday. So hopefully that goes well. And the other places that are working on a treatment and cure are also, going to have some positive results. And we really start to see some, this tide being turned and everything. So that's all I could think.
We'll see. So hopefully obviously it's clinical trials. So, I just, maybe my overactive imagination just keeps going about that type of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a short-term fix, but then it comes back 10 times stronger. So
as
I'm
far
hoping that as far as it's a short-term fix for the virus, maybe it just kind of subdues it or it keeps it on a low so you don't experience any symptoms, and then bam, it comes back with the force. Maybe it mutates into something else, and hopefully, like I said, hopefully that doesn't happen. Hopefully all trials and stuff go as planned. Yeah, man, it's I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah,
we'll see what happens.
Yeah, and hopefully, hopefully they get these trials and they get some kind of treatment, and then hopefully they're able to find a cure in the form of a flu shot or something like that. That can help really squash it. So we'll see, man. See. Anyway, all right. Well, I guess if you want to tell the people where they can find us, you can do that. We'll be blacking up out of here.
All right, people. Check the description if you missed this, but hashtag Blackout Pod is where you can find us. iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, SoundCloud, Spotify, YouTube, Spreaker, Anchor, all those places. You can find us there. It's hashtag blackoutpod@gmail.com. Send us an email. Check out some hooks. Maybe they'll send you something in the mail if you order. May have to Lysol your box because I'm pretty sure it's gonna be touching a bunch of stuff.
Yep. In
the mail truck. So definitely order that because I know you'll be cooking while you're inside your house.
Yes, indeed.
What else am I missing? I feel like I'm missing something.
I don't know. I think you're good. If you missed it at this point, it's too late. So.
It's too late. It is too late. Hashtag Blackout Pod. Did I say that? I did say that. So, yeah.
Yes, indeed.
Find us.
All right, cool. Well, yeah, man. Peace. On that note, I'm blacking out.
Blacking out.
Yes, indeed.
Blacking out.
Peace.
And cut it.